This is Crops the quest for round 10,000 chat. How long did it take? We're about to figure it out.
10,000, the most sought after round in COD.
Oh shit, double speed. Criminal!
Is widely regarded as one of the most known records in gaming history.
Criminal!
So why is this round so recognizable? What makes it so unique?
What does
How come
make
it's
it
so
so
sought
unique?
after?
I don't
and
know.
why is this considered one of the most challenging records ever?
With that logic, Chop is a piece
On
of shit
November
streamer.
11th,
Hey,
2008,
don't say that,
the
bro.
first game to
I'm a
introduce
piece of shit
zombies,
streamer.
Call of Duty World at War, was launched.
Whoa,
While
my
unknown to the public,
boy!
the Zombies mode
That's
Treyarch
my
had
boy
developed was
right
hidden
there.
and could only be unlocked by completing the campaign.
Yeah,
Once the player
boo,
finished the
campaign.
campaign,
Actually, no, World
they'd
of
be
War
put in
campaign
the
was
map
fucking
called Nocturne
litty.
Tone. This is the first
Litty.
Zombies map and would be one out of 4 that were released during World at War's lifetime. The other 3 that
We're
were
all
launched were
streamers at
Barak,
the end of the day. We
Shi No
still play Call of
Numa,
Duty
and
Zombies. That's
Darius.
actually so
However,
fucking true,
the
King.
third map, Shi No
That's
Numa,
actually
would
so
become the
fucking
most
true.
significant map out of the 4. The reason the map was so significant is because it was the final map to have 24 zombies around. On paper, this does not sound like
Why
an
Shi
issue,
No Numa,
although
chat?
it would
Why
lead
did
to
they
one of
do
the
it on
biggest
Shi No?
changes in the game mode. See, Treyarch introduced a new wonder weapon called the Wunderwaffe. This weapon contained 3 shots in its magazine and 15 in its reserve.
It's
Despite the lack of
kind of crazy that, chat, isn't it crazy to think that like almost 13 years after the launch of Shi No Numa would be put into a map again. It would look worse than the World at War version, and it wouldn't even have the Wunderwaffe. We're in the wrong timeline.
ammo.
We're
Each
in the
shot
fucking
dealt
wrong
infinite
timeline, chat.
damage and killed 10 zombies.
We're in the
On top
wrong
of the
fucking
Wunderwaffe, Shi No
timeline!
Numa introduced dogs.
Get me
which
out
are
of
a
the
boss round that includes
timeline!
every
Get
4
me
to
out
5
of
rounds
here!
and gave the player max ammo once a round was defeated. These 2 additions and 24 zombies around made the perfect mixture for broken high rounds. In fact, it was
We're in
so
the
broken
fucking
it
wrong
allowed
timeline.
players to get to round 1000 within under 9 hours. Because of this, the next and final map, Darius, was changed to add more zombies the higher a player goes in rounds. However, Shi No Numa remained the same, meaning players could continue to reach round 1000 plus. Despite records being insignificant at the time, Shi No Numa, for the first time, would create competition within the community to reach a higher round. Matter of fact, it got so competitive, 4 days after the map release, Sizzle Steps, also known as Viper,
I
would achieve
love
round
how you,
123.
Crops, I have to just say this for your videos. I fucking love how you give these YouTubers the attention that they fucking deserve, because I think this has been a problem ever since that I've been in the zombies community, is like high round players get fucking shafted on YouTube. Unless your name is fucking Mr. Dalek JD, Noah J456, Mr. Raffle Waffles, like, your shit is not gonna get out there. So I always have to say that at Krups, hearts and chat for Krups, the recognition and the time spent to actually find these motherfuckers is seriously what I think is so valuable about your videos, because a lot of people want to know about that, and it's funny that other communities do that more than Call of Duty does. And it makes you kind of think, like, what is wrong with Call of Duty for not doing that? You know what I'm saying?
Making this the first mainstream record in the zombies community.
Without
Despite the
glitching.
community
Oh,
being small,
mega.
this record would inspire
Oh,
many to break
mega.
it. This was mostly due to the
Without
round Sizzle Steps
glitching.
achieved, but also the strategy he used. The strategy involved the player standing in the communications room. While the HUDs
Are you
did not
Whale
have a
Watchers?
significant
Fuck no,
effect on the
baby.
gameplay, they did contain 4
Fuck
perks.
no,
These 4
baby!
perks were Juggernog, Double Tap, Speed Cola, and Quick Revive. Although Double Tap and Quick Revive
You
are near
mean diabolical damage, whatever the fuck the one in Vanguard is called.
because the zombies only spawn in the main building where you start and the
Yeah.
communications area, this meant they won't spawn anywhere else on the map. However, Sizzle did not know this,
This
which
man,
explains why he kept the
I was about to
dock
say, did
reporters
this man
closed.
figure this out in his
Despite
first
this,
game?
keeping the 2 HUDs
123
closed
first
wasn't an
game?
issue,
There's
because
no
8
way.
days later, Sizzle would achieve round
What
439,
the fuck?
beating his previous record by 316
Bruh.
rounds.
2009,
Surprisingly,
round
Sizzle
400.
changed up the
Could you fucking
strategy he
imagine?
used. Instead of
Chat,
using his
is
own
this you?
strategy,
I better
he
see
used a different
zeros in the
strategy
chat, 'cause
created
this
by
is fucking
Vans.
none of
This
us.
strategy involved the players standing on the bridge near the
This is
flogger
fucking
traps.
none
The
of us
zombies
right
would
here.
spawn behind them. Then the player would run into the main building and shoot their Wunderwaffe. While simple, the strategy was very effective. Compared to
up to-
Sizzle's
from an app
strategy,
to 140
Vans'
gameplay.
strat
This
saved
is
30
what
minutes
it's all
per
about right
100 rounds. Since Vans'
2009,
strategy was
round
simple and fast,
436
it would
gameplay.
inspire
Is
him
this
to
you?
break Sizzle's
No
record.
fucking megalo. I can't believe someone did this.
2 weeks later, Vans would
2009.
break Sizzle's record by reaching round 2032,
What?
making this the first known round 1000 and 2000 on Shi No Numa.
Oh my
In fact,
God.
Van's record was so impressive, it froze on 2032,
What
roughly
the
20
fuck?
hours into the game. See, to understand why Van's
Chat,
game froze,
Isn't it crazy that we're gonna live until 2032? I'm gonna be 34 in 2032. Oh my God, I'm actually gonna be Lester Crest. That's fucked.
we have to
That
look
is
at the time
actually
he
fucked.
achieved this record, which was July 7th, 2009. This meant Vans was
I'm gonna
limited
be
to the consoles he could
34.
choose. Besides PC, Vans only had
Criminal.
access to the Xbox 360 Premium, Xbox 360 Core, or more commonly
Xbox
referred to the
360
Xbox 360
Premium,
Arcade,
baby.
and the Xbox
Woo!
360 Elite. Now, he only
Hell
chose the
yeah.
PlayStation 3 as it was the only console he had
Hell
at the
yeah.
time. At first, this does not sound
this the
like
game
an
with the
issue
original
because Vans could have
1337?
chosen any
It
of
could
these
be.
consoles.
I'm pretty.
he would have been
This
set,
looks like the
right?
quality of
Well,
it, to be
not
honest.
exactly. See, PS3 World at War had some issues. The game would constantly get massive frame
PS3
drops
chat.
and usually always
Do you remember when everyone's like, fuck PS3, Xbox 360 for life? And then Xbox One came out, and everyone's like, wow, fuck Xbox One, PS4 for life. And I feel like PlayStation's still winning. Like, chat, does anyone in this chat, if you own a Series X? Does anyone in this chat actually own a Series X? I'm shocked. Wow. I don't know why you would own a Series X. But hey, if you have friends on Xbox, that I understand. That I
stayed at
understand.
roughly 40 to 50
I will never
frames
buy it
per
because none of
second.
my friends,
And it
all
was
my
known
friends
to
are on
freeze a
PC
lot.
now.
Now,
We
if I
never
did my
play
research
console.
right, World at War was developed for the Xbox 360, though they imported the 360 version onto PS3, which would explain why the FPS was lower and
so
why the
it's a
game froze
port.
often. Unfortunately for
Interesting.
Vans, the Xbox 360 didn't help much
didn't
either.
realize that.
See, the old Xbox 360s had a major problem with
It
disk
makes
scratching
sense,
and
man.
overheating,
Disk
which meant it was
scratching,
common for games
no.
to crash, especially on World at War.
This is so
Also,
sad.
these consoles were never
Red
built for high
Ring,
rounding.
no.
The reason I say this is because past 15 to 20 hours,
Oh,
the game usually
no.
froze due to overheating or disk
This
issues.
is so
if you wanted to
sad.
beat the record, you had to be very lucky. Surprisingly, that
very
did not
efficient.
stop players from attempting to beat Van's record. If you remember, I mentioned Sizzle's 439 record. Well, 3 days after Vans got round 2032, Sizzle would achieve round 2147, making
What
this the
the
shortest held
literal-
record in
Running
zombies
from
at the
dogs.
time.
What a
Also,
title.
This video would gain over 400,000
What a title.
views on YouTube,
Running from
making
dogs.
it the first COD Zombies record to gain almost 500,000
That's
views.
so
To
fucking
add on top
funny.
of that, Sizzle ended
That
its
is
game
actually the
because any
truth.
round higher than 2,147 would not show up on the PS3 leaderboards.
Oh.
The reason why the leaderboards cannot go any higher
It's
than
the
this
binary
number is due to the
number.
game being coded in 32-bit,
Oh,
which has a maximum signed integer of
damn.
roughly 2,147,143,647.
I'll
However,
never forget that
leaderboard
number
shortens
till the
the
day I
32-bit
fucking
limit
die.
to 2,000
Till the day I fucking die.
which explains why the leaderboards cannot go any higher than this number. So,
Yeah.
because players only cared about console leaderboards,
so
Sizzle
fucking
ended his
crazy.
game on this round. Then the competition stopped.
Damn.
For the next 3 years, not a single player could get near Sizzle's record, although in late 2011,
True.
a popular Zombies player, Yodi Slayer, would attempt to reach around
Oh.
1,337.
No way,
Wait,
it was Yodi?
why am I talking about around 1,337 game when the record was 2,147? Well, I said Yodi Slayer was a popular Zombies player. Due to this, Yodi would inspire many to reach high rounds on Shi No Numa. The reason for this was
Wow.
because high rounders usually never...
Wait, so was Yodi that started it before Tom? I thought it was Tom. Wow, no fucking way. Honestly, that makes sense.
and unfortunately still get barely
That
any
honestly makes
recognition.
sense.
So to see a popular player going for round 1000 was insane to the casual audience.
True.
Furthermore, Yodi showed his failed attempts, which was quite uncommon. Due to this, Yodi showed that with enough determination and
Damn.
practice,
Good
players
on you,
could reach their
Yodi.
goal.
Rest
And
in
he
peace,
did.
my man.
Yodi finally achieved
Good fucking
1337.
mans.
Although it wasn't until
Wow.
late 2013, Yodi's 1337
Damn, good
game
on
had a
this
huge
fucking man.
impact on the
Absolute
Zombies
goat, bro.
community. On Wednesday, October 23rd, 2013, Brian Joseph Rickard, also referred to as Yodi Slayer, was out drinking with his friends Ryan and Ashley.
Oh,
Because all three
chat, one in the chat if you were there. I didn't have a Twitter account in 2013, but I literally will never forget this day. I vividly remember it when I was literally 15 years old. And chat, this was literally the year I started my YouTube channel. Holy fuck. I started my channel on March 15th, 2013. Coincidentally, the exact same day as Timothy Hansen. But I'll never fucking forget this day for the rest of my life. Because I always remember checking his YouTube channel afterwards and just seeing, like, all the comments and shit. And, like, oh, man, that shit changed my life, man. Rest in peace, bro. Fucking rest in peace, my man Yodi. Honestly, like, it's insane to think what he would have thought at this point. Because, like, in a way, chat, he actually passed on before the biggest boom zombies ever had. Which is so fucking sad. Because Yodi, if he was around, man, he would have been killing it on Borderlands 2, Black Ops 3, hell, even Black Ops 4, probably even Cold War at this point. It's actually crazy to think about. So, seriously, rest in peace to my mans.
Believed to be intoxicated. Brian entered his car and climbed in the driver's seat, while Brian and Ashley entered the other seats. Once all three friends entered the car, it is believed they thought of outrunning a train, unfortunately going with the plan. At approximately 2 a.m., Brian and his friends tried to outrun a CS-422 train engine which was traveling at 60 miles per hour. Eventually, Brian and his friends made it to the train crossing, but then slowed down as a sign of hesitation.
No.
Moments later, the train would collide into the broadside of the truck cab.
New details have been released on a train accident in Vigo County that claimed the life of 3 people.
NBC2's Morgan Moore spoke with officials about the crash, and she joins us now in the newsroom with the latest. Morgan?
Well, Tom and Sydney, police have released the names of the 3 who were killed early this morning. Brian Rickard and Ryan Cook, both of Terre Haute, and Ashley Pugh of Illinois, were pronounced dead on the scene after the truck they were in tried to outrun a train on Rio Grande Avenue near Gallagher Road. Police did find open containers of alcohol in the truck and say speed and alcohol could be a factor in the crash. According to officials, the lights and gates were working at the time of the incident.
Brian and one passenger believed to be in the passenger seat were ejected from the vehicle, while the third passenger, believed to be in the back seat, were partially ejected through the windscreen of the truck. All 3 died immediately upon impact. Obviously, this shocked the community. Within 1 day after the accident, hundreds of tributes were made. Hell, big YouTubers such as Mr. Dalek JD and Syndicate made tribute videos to Yodi.
Oh my god, dude. Tom has so many sad videos on his channel that literally, dude, that just fucking rip me apart. He uploaded this one for Yodi and then also the one for during the Z House back in 2016. I can't remember what it was about. Fuck me, he has so many, bro. It's like, it's actually ridiculous. But yeah, man, I'm glad, you know, recently I feel like there hasn't been any major deaths in terms of YouTube life. So you know what? Hearts in the chat for that. But fuck, man. There was a period, especially back in like 2013 to 2016. Bro, it was like 2 YouTubers a year that were getting passed away. It was so fucked. It was so fucked, man.
Community-dedicated tributes such as custom maps were made to honor his death. Because of this, I'd like to give a moment of silence to all 3 victims of this terrible accident.
Kicks, yeah, bro. R.I.P. Kicks, man. Fuck me, dude. Death is literally the worst shot.
Thank you. As influential as Yodi Slayer was, there are a few world records that were achieved before his death. On August 29th, 2012, Legit Gamer 360 would achieve around 2,150, beating the record by a
I like that you included Yodi, Crop, seriously, because like you didn't have to for this video because he didn't even hit the quote-unquote highest round that the other guys did. But you know what, dude? It's cool that you did, man. Especially because of the fact that like it was a more like popular content creator at the time. Because yeah, you're right. It's like nobody's seeing these videos unless it's recommended to them, and that's like a very small population, you know.
Topping 3 rounds. Unsurprisingly, Legit Gamer was influenced by Yodi to beat this world record. In fact, Legit Gamer used Yodi Slayer's strat, which is an advanced version of Van's strategy. Instead of standing on the bridge near Flogger, Yodi stood right beside the door which leads to the doctor's quarters. This forced the zombies to spawn in the main building as well as the Flogger area. However, the zombies never spawn in the communications area, which is perfect for a safe strategy. Due to this, Legit Gamer was able to achieve round 2,150, the first time anyone had beat
Matt, dude, fucking Matt is so funny, bro. Matt is so fucking funny.
in the record in over 3 years. Also, this record would break a dry streak for Shi No Numa
Fucking
records.
Matt.
Almost 5 months later, the Kyrie78, a fairly known World at War player who would eventually break the Nocturne 20
Who is
world
this?
record
4
in
mil
2014,
subs?
would achieve round 2,156.
Oh, he's French. Okay, that's why. I was like, what the fuck?
Shi No Numa, beating the previous world record by an astonishing 6 rounds. Just like all the other records, Kyrie would use Van's original strategy since it was faster than Yodi's version. As much as I want to discuss this record, there isn't much to talk about besides the record becoming the most viewed one on YouTube.
Wow.
11 months later,
That's so
the
interesting.
KSR Chronicles
And chat,
achieved round
the
3.
French community for high rounding, I don't know about now, but man, like 2 to 5 years ago was fucking on fire. I bet you that man started a massive fucking movement for people racing.
Finally putting
Like
an end to
100%.
an amazing 9-round difference across 3 records.
Wow.
Furthermore, KSR Records became the first game in over 4 years to nearly
Holy
beat the
shit.
previous record by over 1,000 rounds. So, to say the least, this record was pretty significant for its time. Hell, KSR played the game over a course of 6 days, which lasted roughly 50 hours. Well, that's what KSR said.
Chat, I
it probably
gotta
took
go
him
for Shi
35
No
to
Numa
40
1,000.
in-game
One in
hours
the
to
chat
reach
if I
this
go
round.
for it, bro.
Still, that's
This is
pretty
hyping me
impressive.
up, man.
On top of that, this record
I
would
need
create
to.
a new era for
I should
Shi No
probably
Numa.
do it the
The
day
era
after
was
tomorrow.
titled the Shi
After
No
I
Numa
walk for
Craze,
12 hours,
or
I'm gonna
shortened
fucking
to
do
the
it.
2014
That's
Shi No
it,
Numa
man.
Craze.
I gotta fucking
In
get
total,
this shit.
5 records would be
Pissing me
achieved
off
on
that
this
I
map
can't
within
get it,
just
bro.
half a year. The first being round 4,365. Achieved by XBeer on May 10th,
What day is it
2014.
today? Today's Wednesday?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
Friday
the first
round
time
1,000,
in
chat.
almost
I'm
5
saying it
years,
right
the
now.
previous
Friday
world
round
record was
1,000.
beaten by over
Thursday I'm
1,000
walking
rounds.
for 12
In
hours.
addition
Friday
to the
I'm doing
1,000
round
round
1,000.
difference, XP ran
You're
an
fucking
advanced
damn right.
version of Van's
Yep.
strategy. Instead
That's
of
the
standing
play.
on the bridge, then running to the building, XP activated the Flogger, making the strategy faster and safer. This would eventually be called the Flogger strategy.
I'm shocked it took
Obviously,
this long
this
to
had
get
a
to the
significant
Flogger.
impact on high rounders
actually
who
kinda
wanted to get the
shocked
world
about that.
record on the map due
It
to
took
a brand
that
new
long
strategy.
for the Flogger to be
However, you
implemented.
needed to be extremely dedicated to achieve the record. At around 4,000, it takes roughly 40 hours. So for the extra 1,000 rounds, it'll take 10 hours. Thankfully, players could pause their game, though grinding 40 hours of the same
Also,
thing
did these people
over
know
and
about the
over
Instakill
would
rounds?
demotivate
I'm pretty sure
many
they
players.
didn't.
Nevertheless, that
They
didn't
probably had no
demotivate
fucking
every
idea.
player. Remember when I said 2014 started this Shi No Numa craze? Well, because XP achieved around 4,365, it meant players were just 635 rounds away from 5,000, the halfway mark to around 10,000. Obviously, this was huge within the community. So, who was going to achieve the first 5,000? If anyone had a high chance,
Who
it was
was
Zombie
it? I have no
Slayer
clue.
Germany. Despite being unknown in current times, Zombie Slayer Germany was quite big back in the day. In fact, he is argued as one of the greatest World at War players because he achieved the first round 100 on World at War Darius,
Wow.
ending a 6-year-long battle of attempts from
Wow,
many players.
dang.
So it's pretty obvious Zombie Slayer Germany was a perfect player to attempt the first round 5,000. And he did.
It's
Starting
not.
around June
Just
of
blink, chat. Hold on.
2014,
Close your
he
eyes,
scored
chat. Close
multiple
your eyes.
attempts to become the first
Blink.
to reach round 5,000.
There you
Then,
go. I don't know what
on
you're talking
June
about.
28th,
I don't know what you're fucking talking about.
2014, Zombie Slayer would
I don't
achieve
know what
a
you're
new
fucking
world
talking about.
record.
Just blink. Just
I know
blink,
what some
bro.
of you are asking. Why aren't you telling us what round he achieved?
Just fucking
Well,
blink.
he achieved a round no one expected.
Dedicated cam. Shut the fuck up, chat. Dedicated cam. It's my dedicated. Oh my god, the worst, bro. No.
Yep, instead of achieving round 5,000, Zombie Slayer Germany would down to his zombies.
What a clan tank right there, chat.
In,
Can I be real?
shy
What a
of
clan
5,000
tank.
by 471 rounds.
Good
As unfortunate
God.
as the down was, Zombie Slayer Germany was able to add one more record to the countless of other ones he held. Although that
Why
wouldn't
is the
last for
gameplay so
long. In
green?
the process of Zombie Slayer grinding Shi No Numa, a fairly known player, the Yodi Wizard, was doing his own attempts in the background. Well, it's safe to say those attempts paid off because on July 26, 2014, just over 5 years since Shi No Numa was released, the Yodi Wizard would achieve around 5,000. In addition, the Yodi Wizard did not end his game because he wanted to continue further. Due to this, the first known comment referencing round 10,000 was written by Awkwardly Sneaky, another semi-popular zombie player back in the day. As such, this encouraged the Yodi Wizard to reach a higher round. But then, on round 5,524, this happened.
Oh no.
As you can see, the game is frozen, so it's game over. There's nothing to do about that.
Is he on PC?
Which is a shame because I was looking forward to doing the live streams and stuff like that.
What?
But there is some positives to focus on. This is the highest round 4 times.
Just 524 rounds after the Yodi Wizard achieved round 5,000, his game froze. As unfortunate as the freeze was, the Yodi Wizard got what he wanted. The first round 5,000. The same could be said for the community too. Why play now when a player just achieved everyone's dream? Round 5,000.
And chat, a lot of the spacing in between these rounds are a lot due because like new COD games came out. So like Black Ops 1 came out and then everyone fucking got off Shi No Numa play and we're playing like all the new maps. And then Black Ops 2 came out and everyone was playing Transit for some fucking forsaken reason. And then, you know, Black Ops 3 came out. So that's why there's like these massive periods of time where there's just literally nothing.
Consequently, any attempts to break the record were halted. For the next days, weeks, and eventually months, almost nobody was up to go for the record.
Exactly.
Until Santa's Bananas came along.
Santa's
Compared to other players, Santa's Bananas was not the best zombie player, nor a recognizable player within the community. In fact, almost nobody knew about him until he started grinding Shi No Numa in December of 2014. Despite not being the best zombies player, there's one thing Santa's had. It was luck. I know what some of you are asking. How can luck be better than skill? Well, there's a few things you need to understand. The first is how badly coded Shi No Numa was. Remember when I was explaining how the old PS3 had major FPS drops and would constantly freeze? The same thing would happen to the Xbox 360 Slim, which was purposely designed to run games longer without freezing and overheating issues. So how come Shi No Numa froze on the best console for its time? Well, you have to understand, the Yodi Wizard's game took him over 52 hours. Furthermore, the Yodi Wizard used a flogger trap. While efficient, the frame drops the trap would create about 40 hours in was terrible. In fact, the frame drops were so bad, it could cause a player to freeze. Obviously, you needed to be very lucky with the freezes, but that wasn't the only issue. The second major issue was the dog rounds. See, there was a bug on the map where, instead of the dogs taking 5 hits to kill you with Jug, sometimes they would kill you in just 1 hit. Yup, as unfortunate as it is, this is a reality of Shi No Numa. Thus, getting lucky was required to achieve the record, which is perfect for Santa's Bananas. While the exact date is unknown, Santa's Bananas would start a game in early December that would revolutionize Shi No Numa forever.
It's crazy watching people play the same game and they have like different shirts on. Like it's literally been days and days and days.
Around 7,115.
Whoa, he fucking zoomed it.
What the fuck?
Damn.
In just 1 year, Shi No Numa went from around 3,000 to around 7,115.
That's
4,000.
The reason why this is so significant, chat, is because there's literally never been like this in the history of zombies, and there probably never will. Especially because of how hard it is to go through rounds on like a map like or on a game like Vanguard. Like this will never fucking happen ever again, which is
115
crazy.
round difference.
That's fucking
on top
insane.
of that, Santa's Bananas achieved the second biggest round difference on Shi No Numa.
My
to say
God.
this shocked the community is an understatement.
I fully
Hell, I
agree.
think D Frenzy's reaction said it the best.
I just wanted to give like an honorable mention to
Frenzy.
Santa's Bananas for basically crushing the previous world record. Like whenever I started up this Shi No Numa game, myself and VSAT were playing Shi No Numa, and by the time we got to like round 3,000, Santa's Bananas was already on round 4,000, and we're like, what the heck? Like, who is this guy? And VSAT ended up like game overing or committing suicide, something like that, around like 3,000. But I kept going, and I just, within like 2 or 3 days, I was just, you know, so far behind Santa's Bananas because this guy was just grinding out like rounds, like putting in 12 to 14, 15 hours a day, and it was just crazy because, you know, myself, like I just, you know, I couldn't do that anymore, and I was playing like, you know, maybe 6, 7 hours a day, something like that, and that felt like a grind for me. So, yeah, he ended up getting the world record at like around 7,115 or something, and then he ended up dying on dog rounds, which were the hardest part about the map, by the way. If you guys didn't know, dog rounds are very difficult.
In the chat for the dogs,
well, actually not very difficult. What am I talking about? But yeah, compared to the normal rounds, it's almost impossible to die on. And sometimes, because World at War is really glitchy, you can die in like 2 to 3 dog bites just because, yeah, the game says so.
True.
What if I told you I lied about the buggy dog rounds? Would you believe me? Yes?
I would believe you because
doesn't matter because I did lie. See, the dogs deal 40 damage per hit on World at War Shi No Numa. However, instead of healing 40 damage after 1 to 2 seconds, the game only regenerates 5 health points per second, taking a total of 8 seconds to regenerate from 1 dog bite. This information was originally found by Sleepy Taylor, who made a well-made video explaining how Juggernog and dog bites work on Shi No Numa. So if you could please check him out, that would be highly appreciated.
Check out Sleepy Taylor, chat. Let's go.
This video. Anyway, because the player only regenerates 5 health points per second after bitten by a dog, the dog rounds themselves can be really tricky. This explains why Santa's Bananas down at around 7,115. Had players known about this information, Santa's Bananas could have continued further, though that did not matter because the Frenzy was also in the game, playing right beside Santa's Bananas. While insignificant in modern times,
Frenzy had
back
the
in
massive
2014,
world record.
having 2 players competing side by side for the world record. The reason these 2 games were huge for the casual community is due to high rounds not being discussed on this side of the community. Because of this, seeing round 7,000 was insane to the casual audience. Unfortunately, this did more harm than good. See, round 7,000 is impressive if you don't count the other maps and games that exist. As an example, when Black Ops 1 was released, it introduced a very iconic map called Kino der Toten. Roughly 4 years after Kino was released, high-round zombie players,
2,000 plus right now,
called high-rounders, pushed the map to its absolute limits. Once a high-rounder played roughly 75 hours, the game would reset. The reason this happens is because of the 32-bit limit. If you remember earlier in the video, I mentioned how the 32-bit number affected PS3 leaderboards in such a way it would not count any round higher than 2,147. Unsurprisingly, the 32-bit limit had a major effect on World at War and Black Ops 1. Instead of the number limiting the leaderboards, the number would limit how long you could play. So how is that the case when Zombies does not have an official ending? Well, there's a thing called an entity. An entity is an object or a sound and will add one entity every 50 milliseconds towards a 32-bit number. As an example, Shi No Numa has a base set of 292 entities, essentially meaning every 50 milliseconds, 292 entities are counted towards a 32-bit limit. This is what causes a reset and explains why players have to play a strategy as fast as possible to reach a higher round, because they will reset roughly the same time as the current world record holder. Though that does not answer the most asked question. Wouldn't Shi No Numa be harder because it takes up to 100 hours till the game resets? No. The reason for this is because in 2014, nobody had hit the reset on Shi No Numa, meaning you never had to worry about it.
Treyarch, one in the chat if you agree with this, Treyarch should make a game mode where it's 24 zombies per round like Shi No Numa, just so people can get fucking insane rounds, like 10,000 and shit. I'm a one in the chat for that. That would be fucking sick. I'm shocked they haven't done that. To be real.
speedrunning, only
To be
surviving.
fully real,
Furthermore, Shi No Numa only had
I'm
24
shocked they
zombies
haven't done
around,
that.
while Kino der Tone increased the volume of zombies the higher you
Exactly,
go up
the
per
volume
round.
gets
So
increased,
this
so the round
explains why
doesn't really
common
mean anything.
misconceptions of
Which
Shi
is
No
why
Numa
it's
being harder
stupid.
than
Nobody
other
gives a
maps due
fuck.
to the round number.
Like, chat, do you give a fuck that round 121 is that much harder than round 120? No. Nobody fucking cares. They need to go back to this World at War shit where it's like 24 zombies around. You get a nuke, the round ends. Keep it going. You know?
Is frequent within the
We'll
casual
see how
community.
fucking far people
if
can
there's
actually
anything
get
to
with
be
that.
learned here, never judge a book by its cover. Well, in this sense, never judge a map by its cover. Nevertheless, let's get back on track. When the frenzy was on round 5,500, Santa's bananas died on 7,115. This gave Frenzy a better chance of achieving the world record because he no longer had competition. Roughly 3 days after Santa's bananas achieved round 7,115, Frenzy would achieve round 7,200, purposely ending this game because he wanted to play Halo, the Master Chief Collection.
He's like, shit, bro, I'm out. I want to play Halo.
Halo the Master Chief Collection also was coming out while I was in this game.
Hell
so
yeah,
I decided,
fucking pog,
bro. I'll just get to around 7,000.
Fuck this shit, I'm doing Halo. Wow, that sounds like someone I know.
I kind of
that sounds like Mr. Ruffle Waffles.
Play some other games, like some new games that I.
Fuck it, I'm down.
Yep, all of that for Halo. As funny as it sounds,
all
Santa's
that for
bananas
Halo.
3-day Halo record
Halo!
would tie the shortest
Halo!
record held on the map. Then everything stopped. For the next few days, weeks, and months, nobody attempted to break the world record. It didn't help that Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was bringing another chapter in the storyline. When the game was released on November 6, 2015, almost every zombie player, both casual and competitive, flocked to the game. So any interest in beating Frenzy's world record was almost non-existent. Then came early January of 2016. A very well-known player named Sith Bass was doing record attempts in the background. Out of the blue, Sith Bass would achieve around 8,000 in early February of 2016, finally breaking Frenzy's record and slowly closing the gap on around 10,000. While the record was amazing, there's one problem with it, and it wasn't the record itself, it was a player. See, Sith Bass was a recognizable player in the community, but for the wrong reasons. Instead of getting records legitimately, he got them illegitimately. Starting from late 2011 up to spring of 2016, Sith Bass was exposed for modding a round 99 co-op game on Moon, round 100 on Kino der Tone, round 100 on Shangri-La, and round...
Chat, oh Lord. Why do fucking people mod these records, man? Who do you think you're fucking fooling? Like, chat, one in the chat, if you remember that D-Machine controversy I talked about, where the guy who fucking got... Kingman, you made a video on that, right? Where the guy fucking hit... Oh my god, that shit was so fucking foul. I hate when people think they can get away with it like that. It's like, bro, if you're gonna get away with it, you're gonna... You have to think everybody on this fucking planet is dumb as fuck, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like trying to get 100 on Shang, be like, okay, dude, that's different. Splicing gameplay, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you have to be fucking out of your mind to think that people are, like, not gonna get it. In 2021, when everything's recorded being fucking uploaded onto Pornhub, you're out of your mind, man.
101 on 5. Which is thought to be the world record, which turned out to be modded. For the cherry on top, Sith Bass was the owner of ZombieWorldRecords.com, the main website that holds every zombie record and world record.
Why am I fucking not surprised? This is so criminal. Oh my god. Why am I not fucking surprised?
Better yet,
bro?
Sith Bass made a video responding to the allegations of him cheating. Unfortunately, the video no longer exists as Sith Bass has removed almost every trace of himself from the internet. However, one thing he said in the video went something along the lines like this: I, as the owner of Zombie World Records, and our staff do not encourage nor allow any cheated records on the website.
How the fuck can you say that when you cheat your own records? That's like being like, hey, I went to prison for robbing a bank, but guys, don't rob banks. Pog you boys, don't rob the banks, dude.
Oh, how ironic. Because of this,
Yeah,
every other
like, what
record
the
achieved by
fuck?
Sith Bass was labeled as
Guys, it's
cheated
not good to
or
rob
modded,
banks, dude.
and it remained that way for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
Until January 2021, Sith Bass round
I can
8,000
tell this shit looks modded because it doesn't even look like he should have as many points as he should. He only has, what, 7 million here? This is around almost 8,000, man.
game on Shi
I don't
No
think it's
Numa
like
was looked
that.
over by a few staff members on ZWR, eventually
Yeah.
coming to the conclusion the game was legit. So, how can that be? Why this record instead of others Sith Bass achieved?
He's just
well,
lucky,
this was the
old
only surviving
Megalo.
one from Sith Bass, and he had full gameplay from round 1 all the way to round 8,000. Though this doesn't answer the big
interesting.
question. Why would Sith Bass keep gameplay of this record? While it's not confirmed,
Yeah.
I personally believe Sith Bass tried to redeem himself by achieving a big record.
I mean,
Instead,
I guess.
Sith Bass' plan backfired on him. Because of his
I
previous
guess.
records being cheated, people assumed his round 8,000
He
game
just
was
had the
cheated,
better
even
gaming
though it
chair,
wasn't.
guys. Come
This brought a
on,
lot of
bro.
hate towards Sith Bass, and eventually explained why he streamed on a throwaway alt and left the community. As unfortunate as the situation was, Sith Bass' supposed cheat
Could you imagine gaining notoriety by cheating fucking zombie high round records? Like, how down bad does your life have to be for that to be the reality? Like, how down bad? How down bad? That's criminal,
cheated world
man.
record would stand for a strong year,
Oh,
despite
this is
countless
so
of attempts
fucking
from other
sad.
players.
That's
On May
actually so
16th,
sad.
2017, Zombies Chronicles was released for Black Ops 3. This is huge for the community,
Yeah!
with players, one of whom was
Right.
Instakill. Despite being unknown at the time, in early 2017, Instakill would develop a small yet friendly following from his Shi No Numa
Instakill I
attempts.
know as
Due
well,
to this,
so him and Dupree
Instakill's
have
following
definitely
was hoping
popped
to see if
off
he could
since
break
they
this
started,
Bass
bro.
record, but also achieve the first round 10,000. This
Yeah.
would further motivate him to break the world record. Then in April of 2017, Instakill would finally break Sith Bass record by achieving around 8,001. However, Instakill
Damn.
continued to play,
8,001.
attempting to reach the first
Mega.
10,000.
Oh, fucking mega lol, bro. He did that to him. Oh my
Round
god.
9,072.
What the fuck?
928 rounds from round 10,000. Clearly, this brought a lot of attention towards Instakill since he was the first player who finally made 10,000 look reachable, though it only remained that way until May of 2017 with the release of Zombie Chronicles. Remember when I
Right.
explained how almost every player in the Zombies community flocked towards Black Ops 3 when it was released?
This is true.
Yeah, the same thing happened with the release of Zombie Chronicles,
Yeah.
essentially removing all interest in achieving the first round
Absolutely,
10,000.
it totally
Moreover,
makes
the
sense.
release
It
of
totally
Zombie
makes
Chronicles
sense.
made a huge change within the community. Instead
Yeah.
of high rounds getting recognized, Easter egg speedruns started to boom, especially in the casual community. The reason for this was because Easter eggs were more RNG dependent
Yes,
than skill
sir.
dependent, and they
Yeah.
were much faster, usually lasting under an hour compared
And
to
also, chat, they're more fun to watch. Like, chat, would you rather watch a high round record speedrun or an Easter egg speedrun? I mean, come on. You'd rather watch an Easter egg speedrun because they're way fucking faster. They're way more in-depth. Every time you watch one, it's always more interesting because there's always these little slight gameplay variations that you notice that are so big brain that you're like, what the fuck? I need to include this. So, I will always love watching Easter egg speedruns way more than anything else. But fuck,
the
man, I
high
do
rounds
have to
which can
agree.
last over
I
50
do
plus
have to
hours.
agree.
So any interest in high rounds was completely diminished.
Yeah, I would say. I think high
If you've
rounds
been in the
really
Zombies
came
community
through
for a
with
while,
Cold War,
this
man.
name might ring a bell.
Clayar,
If
man.
not,
Yeah,
then I'll have
I
to do
agree.
a little explaining.
I
Clayar
agree.
was a somewhat popular Zombies YouTuber back in 2016 through 2019, usually making videos such as top 5s, 10 types of zombie players, and the worst to best series.
Yes.
As simple as these videos were,
Yes,
Clayar wanted to
man.
try something new. Instead of making simple yet fun to watch zombies content, he wanted to attempt something key and other YouTubers had never done before. Achieve the first round 10,000.
That would be fucking crazy if he did. Dude, this man fucking gamed it, chat. There's such a, like, the reason I learned the Shi No Numa strat was literally from Clayar.
On March
He
9th,
had an incredible
2019,
tutorial on it, bro.
Claystar would start his first real attempt at reaching round 10,000. However, instead of attempting to reach round 10,000, Claystar made his goal round 1,000, as he knew he needed practice. Also, to keep himself motivated and his subscribers intrigued, he promised his subscribers a face reveal if he reached round 1,000. Thus, it was time for him to reach his goal. Right off the bat, Claystar's first attempt was going really well. Despite being slower than most players, he reached round 500 in just 6 hours. Although he wasn't done. He still had 500 more rounds to go. Unfortunately, his run wouldn't last much longer. At round 683, Clayar would run through the flogger trap and down. On paper, this sounds normal because on Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 3 Shi No Numa, the player will die once they run through the
bad. Why was it when he was running it looked so fucking laggy
trap when it's on?
Oh,
however, it's different on World at War. If a player buys Juggernog, they can run and stand in the flogger trap when it's on without dying. Although that changes when a zombie runs through the trap. Instead of just a zombie dying, the player dies as well. The reason this happens is because when the zombie dies in the trap, their body's collision box remains where they died for approximately 1 to 2 seconds. If the player runs through the trap and gets stuck on the collision box, 90% of the time the player will go down. As simple as it sounds, Clayar did not know this bug existed and assumed it was the game's fault causing him to go down. However, that did not stop Clay. Just one day later, Clayar would start up another game and reach round 1000 on the second
like I
attempt.
said, look, about 12 hours for around 1000.
Catastrophically, this would be short-lived for Clayar. Just like his round 683 game, Clayar would down in the flogger trap. Obviously, Clayar was really pissed off about this when he posted a tweet right after his game. In his tweet, he wrote, "It's super frustrating knowing that I have the skill and patience to get a world record, but then this keeps happening." As funny and sad as the tweet is, it would coincidentally lead to one of the biggest discoveries on World at War Shi No Numa. A user named Carson Plays would respond to Clayar's tweet, giving him a suggestion: the zombie's body block. My advice, if you go for it again, only go through the trap when the round is confirmed over. Clayar then replied to the tweet saying, "That's also what I was thinking." Owing to the fact this might be true, Clayar launched up a game to test the theory. Then, on round 583, Clayar purposely ran through the trap when the zombies' collision boxes were still there. Surprisingly, he did not die in his first 2 attempts. Then on his 3rd attempt, he would run through the trap in round 586. Which led him to down, confirming this theory. So he decided to make a video about it. Once the video was released on August 3rd, 2019, Clayar said on August 4th, 2019, he would stream his world record attempts on YouTube and Twitch. Then August 4th came. At the start of his attempts, Clayar decided to play safe. The reason for this was because he did not care about his times. He decided to train the zombies in the communications area for the next hour and 10 minutes. He would run the strategy up to round 54, just 10 rounds away from the max zombie spawn rate. From then on, he ran the flogger strategy, essentially making the game more safe and secured, meaning he only had to rely on simple decision making, motivation, and very good luck. With all 3 of these combined, Clayar found himself on round 500, then 1000, round 2500, and eventually round 5000, the halfway point to 10,000. This is one of the few times a player had reached round 5000 since Instakiller's game. So, for the zombies community and Clayar's subscribers, it was exciting, so he continued on. But then, the unexpected happened. Roughly 7 hours later, Clayar would get a dog on round 5710. At first, this looked like an ordinary dog round, but this time, it wasn't. On the second wave of dogs, one would spawn right in front of Clay, body blocking him, which caused him to get 2 bites. This wasn't an issue until Clay ran to the bridge and turned around. Once Clay turned around and slowly hesitated, this caused him to get hit 2 more times. This meant he would have to wait 8 seconds until he recovered from 1 dog bite. If not, then he would die in just 2. Then, Clay started to panic and made the worst decision possible.
And he went
when the first dog of wave 3 spawned near the front of the bridge, he decided to go to the back of the bridge. At first, this sounds like the logical thing to do, but in reality, it was the worst thing to do. See, the flogger area is more open than the back of the bridge, which is perfect when you want to keep your distance from the dogs. Though, Clay went to the back of the bridge. This is the worst decision possible as the second dog of wave 3 spawned at the back of the bridge. Once again, body blocking Claystar.
And then he
Claystar
still had the one
panicked and shot the dog
behind
with his Wonder Waff.
No.
Unfortunately, the bullet did not connect with both dogs and only killed the one in front of him.
Yeah,
Because
if
of
only
this,
it
the
would
dog
have
that spawned on the
connected, he
front
would have
side
been
of the
okay.
bridge bit him, causing him to red screen.
He had to run
Once a player
through-
gets a
oh,
red
he's
screen,
so
it means
fucked.
any damage
He's
taken
so
from a dog
fucked.
or a zombie will instantly
And the
down
reload.
you.
He
It
just
didn't
couldn't
help
reload
Clay had
fast
no
in time.
ammo in his Wonder Waff.
Yeah.
So Clay had no other choice but to run into the swamp and pray for the best. Unfortunately,
got
the worst
absolutely
possible
donkeyed.
scenario happened. He went down. In just 15 seconds, 61 hours played across a span of 7 days went down the drain. Evidently, Claystar stopped playing Shi No Numa, losing nearly 3 days of playtime in
That
just
was
15
literally
seconds.
play-by-play Activision or just Treyarch fucking you over, bro. Just
Cause
fucking
anyone
you
to take
over.
a break
Play-by-play.
or quit.
Oh my
Surprisingly,
God.
Claystar decided to give Shi No Numa one more try. On December 21st,
Yes!
2019,
Let's
Clay would start up
go.
a game that changed history.
Let's
At
go.
first, the start was slow, taking 35 minutes to get the weapon set up, the Wonder Waff,
Damn.
and the PPSH. The reason Claystar
Really
chose
like
the PPSH is because in between round 203 and 213, Instakill rounds start. To
Yeah.
understand why
I think it's
Instakill rounds
208
exist, you have
exactly,
to
right?
understand how the zombies' health works. Starting
Yeah.
from round 1 all the way to round 203 to
I would
213,
have some
the
smash
zombies'
right
health
there.
increases. However, it
It's
can
so
only go
fucked
so
because
high.
if only he
Remember
would
the
have just
32-bit
shot that
number?
one
Yeah, the
and
zombies'
not
health try
thought
to
about
go over it,
maximization,
but
he
it
would have been
can't.
totally fine.
So the
man.
game forcefully resets the
Thought it was
zombies' health back
209.
to round
Apparently
1,
it's between
making them
205
an
and
insta-kill.
213.
Now,
So.
there's two things I'd like to note here. First, the reason people chose the PPSH is because it's faster to kill the zombies on the insta-kill with an
Yeah.
automatic weapon instead
Yeah.
of the Wunderwaffe. Instead of the zombies' health increasing every round, it increases every non-dog round, which
Yeah.
explains why it happens in between round 203 to
Fuck
213
me, man. Thank
instead
you,
of round
Lytle and Estes, for the
163 on
prime for
other
the
maps.
203, man.
Okay, now that I've explained what insta-kill rounds are, let's get on track. After Claystar got his setup, he was ready to go. In roughly an hour and a half, Clay would reach round 100. Then
Hell yeah.
insta-kill rounds
Hour
in
and
2
a
hours
half.
and 42
Oh,
minutes.
mega
Because he
long.
hit
Cold War
insta-kill
times
rounds,
be like-
he was able to reach round 500 in 5 hours and 36 minutes,
Damn.
round 1000 in 10 hours and 40 minutes,
Damn.
2,525
Bro,
hours and
these times
48
are
minutes,
nuts.
for 2/4 of the way to 10,000. Unfortunately, there was one small problem with Clay's game. Instead of playing Xbox 360, Clay was playing on PS3. Despite the riskiness of playing on PS3, there is little reason to panic as Sith Bass, one of the world record holders on the map, achieved around 8,000 on PS3. So achieving 10,000 was 100% possible.
Gee.
Oh no!
Until it wasn't. Roughly 1 second after Claystar nearly froze from turning on the flogger, he paused his game and waited 10 seconds. This was ridiculously smart as no one had tried pausing their game to save a freeze. Unfortunately, this would not last long. About 5 seconds later, Clay decided to quickly pause his game so he could buffer his game. This was a technique he used earlier in his game to fix or reduce crashes.
Man. Is he on 360
Unknown to him,
though? Oh,
he did it in the worst way
Oh, he's
possible.
on PS3.
Instead of looking away from the flogger to increase frames, he buffered his game while looking at the flogger. On just a second pause, his game got a huge lag spike. At least, that's what Clay thought. After 30 seconds, the game still would not
Fuck
unpause,
me.
confirming this so-called lag spike was actually a freeze. Unfortunately, the freeze Clay got would freeze any future attempts from him.
No.
At the start of 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic would take a turn for the worse. As more and more cases of COVID grew, it eventually forced countries to go into lockdown. While unfortunate for some, this is a dream come true for
For
speedrunners.
zombies players were
No
like,
time was better
"Woo,
than
time to
now.
get some
Speedrunners
records."
could grind more often than they could because they had to stay indoors.
love the way
Due
that he
to
says
this,
that.
Zombies became the
Gamers
perfect
be
game
like,
to speedrun
"Woo,
since they
time to
lasted
get
an
some
average of
fucking
70
high-round
hours.
records, baby."
Hell, it was so perfect that me and other speedrunners started to do their own attempts, but it would take a bit until players got anywhere. Until May of 2020. A very unknown player named Riv10 would achieve around 1,802. Not super impressive to the public eye, but for Riv10, this was just the beginning. Roughly 2 days after his 1,802 game, Riv would start up a game that would change how the public eye viewed him. At the start, Riv's game was similar to Claystar's game, though that would quickly change. In just 1 hour and 15 minutes, Riv would reach round 100, 202
Bro,
hours and 12
what are
minutes,
these times,
505
man?
hours
Also, you have
and
to
8
be
minutes,
so lucky
then
getting the
1,000 under
PPSH
10
under Wonder
hours,
Waff, like,
and so
instantly.
on. Visibly, Riv's game was going pretty good. In a little over a week, he would find himself on round
Under 10
5,000,
hour, round 1,000.
the halfway. Nonetheless, this did not demotivate Riv. Despite the extremely boring and endurance testing the rounds
Even
were,
if you expose it on
Riv
YouTube,
eventually
you're
found
fucked.
himself
Yeah,
on 6,000,
exactly.
then 7,000, then 8,000, and eventually around
Big
9,000, just 72 rounds away from the world record. Obviously, this started to bring attention towards Riv. This
Why
was the
a
second
barcode
time
account?
anyone had reached around 9,000. After 3 years and 2 months, Insta's around
Dalek did a
9,072
vid on
world
him? A
record
vid
was
on who?
finally broken, giving the crown to Riv 10. As awesome as this was, there is one more goal Riv and the whole community wanted. Round
Big
10,000.
10K.
Though they would have to wait. 17 minutes after
Big
Riv
assassin
achieved round
attempt as well.
9,072. He
Would
would
you
stop
will
at
work
around
customs or Black Ops 1 mods
9,100 to
ever?
go to
Don't
sleep.
mean to spam
Eventually.
with donations. Would
Eventually.
you do World at War
Yeah,
Customs
absolutely,
or Black
eventually,
Ops 1 mods
After
ever?
last night, Riv decided to play a few hundred rounds as he had work. Despite the stream being short, he would reach around 9,301, then pause, making him just 699 rounds away from 10,000. Once again, Riv had to go to bed.
Bruh.
Just like the second day, Riv had work again. However, he would
that
push himself to the
Instakill.
limits and achieve round 9,742, 258 rounds away from 10,000. At this point, the community was going wild. Was tomorrow, June 14th, 2020, going to be the day someone hits around 10,000? Maybe. On the fourth and final day, Riv and the community was filled with adrenaline. In just 2.5 hours of playtime, Riv could become the first person to hit around 10,000. Because of this, Riv decided to take the smart move and play
Oh,
safe.
is this where he
Unfortunately,
fucked
this
up?
meant he would play slower, but nobody cared about that. All
Yeah.
people wanted to see was around 10,000. So,
Oh, I
Riv
think
started
he
grinding.
fucked up though.
Just 33 minutes after Riv
Oh,
achieved around
no. This is where he fucked
9,742,
up, I think.
he would achieve around 9,800.
Oh,
Then a little under an
no.
hour, he would achieve around 9,900.
Oh, no.
Then 9,910,
Oh, no.
9,920,
No, stop, Krubs.
9,930,
Stop.
and 9,940.
Krubs, no.
10 rounds away from 9,950. Is Riv going to do it? Will this be the first round 10,000?
No, bro.
Of one man who decided to embark on a grand journey to
Dude,
10,000 rounds in Call of Duty Zombies.
Why did he shoot there? Why did he not shoot there? Why did he not shoot there? Even just watching that shit back, he should have shot there. There was no reason for him not to shoot there just before he ran. My fucking god, that's pain. My fucking god. One button. He literally, there's no reason for him not to shoot there. It doesn't even make sense why he did it.
Just 52 rounds away
Oh
from 10,000. Riv
God.
downed. The worst possible case became the
He
reality.
should have shot,
though
bro.
Riv wasn't alone. A few weeks later, other players would face their own nightmares.
Oh my god. No, it's like a fucking curse, man. It's the curse. It's the curse. Bruh. 2 weeks prior. Oh my god. Should have shot. You should have shot. Listen, yeah. When it comes to dog rounds, man, you don't fuck around on Shi No Numa, bro. Even if there's just one, you shoot it, bro. There's no point
Just
in
1
taking
month
those
after
chances.
Riv's game, Lucid Bill's
That
1 would
was
die
such a
on round
huge L.
5,387.
That is such
And
a huge
Nukaholic
L.
would freeze on round 9,139. Despite countless attempts from 3 players, round 10,000 could not be reached. Though, once again, Riv, Bills, and Nukaholic weren't the only ones struggling. Remember when I said I started doing my own attempts in early 2020? Well, it's safe to say I had a rough start. Because I was freezing so much in the Flogger area, I decided to run a different strategy called 2020 Strat. This was an advanced version of Nellen's Island spawn created back in 2009. However, instead of standing on the island and then running towards a trap, I decided to stand on the island. Surprisingly, this is roughly 2.5 SPH faster than a flogger strategy. Due to this, I assumed a player could run the strategy all the way up to round 12,000 before hitting the reset. Unknowing at the time, I was very, very wrong.
Fuck, chat. No. No. Yeah, you just can't do this strat for that long. Fuck me. He even reset going for 2K there? Oh my god.
If you're just curious.
There's no way. Yeah, you can't do it for that long.
Yeah, turns out 2020 strat froze and errored much more often than the flogger strat. The reason for this was, well, funny enough, playing too fast. Apparently, specifically on World at War Shi No Numa, if a player plays below 23 seconds per horde, the game has a high chance of crashing. This is part of the reason why 2020 froze so often. Because of this, I decided to switch to flogger. Then, on July 11th, 2020, I would start my own game. After doing a bit of restarts, I ended up getting the PPSH and Wunderwaffe first box. From then on, I opened every single door on the map to remove entities, which would extend my reset. However, I would only get Speedcool and Juggernog from the 4 huts I opened.
Yeah, because if you only open 2 huts and you get Jug and
play slower
Speedcool,
with the PPSH since you fire the weapon faster, causing you to reload more often. And Quick Revive doesn't revive you when you play solo World at War. Anyway, after I opened all the doors, I went to the flogger area, though this time I would not activate the flogger until round 900. The reason for this is so I could play faster for the first 9 hours of the game, then slow down so I wouldn't freeze from playing too fast. From then on, I would use a flogger trap for the rest of the game.
I didn't expect them to wait literally until 4-digit rounds.
I would play 1,000 rounds per day. Within my 3rd day of playing, I would beat my old personal best of round 2,558. Then 4,000 on the 4th day, 5,000 on the 5th day, then 6,000 on the 6th day, and eventually 7,000 on the 7th day. However, on the 8th day, I would once again face my worst nightmare. On round 7,176, I'd grab a nuke while the flogger was on. This caused my game to stutter for a solid 2 seconds. Amazingly, my game did not crash. Despite the panic created from this near crash, I had to push forward. Roughly 8 hours after my game nearly crashed, I would reach round 8,000, just 2,000 rounds away from 10,000. Then on the 9th day, I would reach round 9,000 and push myself 1 extra hour to reach 9,140, becoming the 3rd person to break Instakiller's round. On day 10, things started to get serious and scary at the same time. Remember when I said I nearly crashed on around 7,176? Well, when I activated the flogger past around 8,000, my frames would sometimes drop so low, it felt like it could crash my game. So to counter this in any way possible, I looked away from the flogger. Fortunately, looking away from the flogger did help with the frame drops just a little bit.
That's such a big brain strat, bro. That's such a 5-head fucking
incredibly
strat.
high, especially since I was 80 plus hours in. So I unpaused my game, started playing, and started praying for good luck. After 4 grueling hours of playing and praying, I eventually found myself on round 9,500, 448 rounds away from the world record.
Chat, did he make it?
After 4 more hours, I got the world record, but I still had 52 more rounds left to go. Was this it? Am I going to get the world record? Or could this be the greatest round bust in Zombies history?
He did it! He did it! Krups was the first! Woo! This is fucking crazy gameplay.
Oh my god, dude.
10,000. Look at that shit. It doesn't even look fucking real. It doesn't even fucking look real, bro.
11 years after Shi No Numa was released, it finally happened. Though there was one more goal I needed to reach.
It's crazy.
Remember when I was talking about the reset? Well, if I wanted to make the record harder to beat, I had to hit it.
Damn. So he went all the way for reset. 10,751.
GG. GG.
Yeah.
GG. GG.
Easy clap. GG's. 10,751
After
is the record to
99
beat.
hours and
Probably you're
36
not gonna
minutes
beat
of
it.
playing,
That's my
I
guess.
finally reset on 10,751, making this the
Damn.
first console reset on World at War, and the first time Shi No
Wow.
Numa became a speedrun. So this
Wow.
begs the question, is World at War Shi No Numa maxed out?
No mega lol.
See, in my
no
game I
mega
achieved
lol.
around 10,751 before I reset. This round is fairly good, although around 11,000 could be possible. In order for someone to achieve around 11,000, they'd have to achieve around 1,500 plus running 2020 strat, and by some miracle, not freeze. If a player makes it this
Damn.
far, then they can switch to Flogger. From there, they can run it all the way up to the reset. Though, just like
The
2020
thing is,
strat,
though,
the
listen,
player...
Krups, the fact that you got almost, what was it, like 5,000 off that one strat, like, it's possible, man. I think, seriously, the world record could be bumped up a couple thousand rounds. It could probably, chat, what do you guys think? I bet you could even probably go from, like, 11,000 to 12,000, maybe even 13,000 if you're pushing it. But it could be bumped up for sure, man. I don't think it's fully maximized yet.
Has a high chance of freezing or erroring. In fact, because they ran 2020 strat to 1500, the chances of them freezing are much higher than if they ran Flogger the entire game. Also, you have to keep in mind a player has to deal with dog rounds. So, is 11,000 possible?
What's the reason
Yes.
playing on old consoles? You have to play on 360, get the maximum reset time, because on PC it'll reset faster. Max is 11,000 because of 2020 freezes. Oh, shit. Well, the 11,000 is possible, chat. If only Treyarch would come back to these games. If only, chat. If fucking
Although it's
only.
very, very difficult
If fucking
and RNG
only,
dependent.
bro.
Thanks for watching.
Woo! Yes. Good video, Krups. Krups, that's probably one of my... Oh. You didn't have to thank me, Krups, you fucking crazy animal.